Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome to The Show Must Go On live. Today's guest is Lou Armistead. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just kind of enjoying this lovely Sunday afternoon here in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Jersey City, New Jersey. Very nice. I am here in Washington State. And I'm joined today by my co-host, Slim, or Slimbo, as I like to call him. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll get a special, he likes to chat a lot. Chat via barking, but I think it adds some flavor.
Cool. I'm all for it. I love that language.
Are you a pet person?
For most of my life, I wasn't. I was like, dogs are cool, whatever. 4 months ago, we adopted a puppy, and that puppy has totally become the heart of my world. She's a little Havanese rescue named Lonnie, and before I was kind of iffy on dogs, and now I'm those people. I'm gonna embroider her on a pillow and make her all my screensavers and stuff. It's funny how quick that happens.
I agree. Slim has been my saving grace during quarantine.
Yeah.
Look at he's just sleeping on the couch and he's so cute.
No, he's so. How old is Slim?
He is around 7. He's a rescue, so we don't know exactly.
Cool. Oh, so he's been around. He knows what's up.
He knows what's up.
What a great companion.
I know. I'm a big fan. I feel like my conversations are Broadway, FLS, and Slim.
Yeah, that's kind of all we need right now. Does he follow you around when you walk around?
Yeah, it's so cute because luckily we have this nice outdoor space here and a yard and a front porch area that he can walk around without anyone, and then the backyard where I'll take him, and he just he follows me, and then he'll look and I'll be like, do you want to walk? And he gets so excited and just pounces in a non-aggressive way, just and any scratches are just they're out of love, and it's okay.
He's just letting you know that he's there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really happy that he's able to rest, because it's been very hot here, and so he's a big boy and has been getting very overheated in how is the weather over there in New Jersey?
It's beautiful. It's the kind of weather that makes you want to go out and just run around like Julie Andrews in the beginning of the movie or whatever. It's kind of that kind of vibe right now. So I'm enjoying it. I'll take it. Pandemic or no pandemic, I'll still enjoy a beautiful day as much as we can.
True. I do know the hills are very much alive.
For real.
So I want to get into everything, your life journey, everything. Though, just make a quick note. I hear a little bit of either static or let's crackle pop. I don't know if anyone watching, Eva, Jennifer, if you hear it as well, or if it's
let me see
through this. All right.
Are you still hearing it?
Sometimes. Not right now. Let's give it a second. All right, I think we're good. Sometimes I don't hear it, and then we start talking, and it adds that extra flavor that maybe we don't want today.
Okay. All right. How's that flavor now?
The flavor is just right. Just enough spice, but not overwhelming.
Cool.
So with that, why don't you tell us your origin story? What got you into this whole world of freestyling and rap, and how'd you get associated with the Freestyle of Supreme Academy?
The way I got involved with Freestyle of Supreme Academy, about 4 years ago, my wife and I went on a double date with some friends of ours. And they were like, hey, thanks for coming out. By the way, a friend of ours is doing this comedy rap battle thing at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. Do you want to come with us? And we were like, sure. And then we went, and it was a show at UCB East called Battlelicious, hosted by a comedian named Victor Varnado and Shockwave. And it's a show where they have comedians and performers come to like battle rap each other. And in the middle of the show, they were like, does anyone from the audience want to come up and give this a try? And then I raised my hand and I went up and some other dude went up, and then we rap battled each other. The crowd decided that I won that rap battle, and that was the first time I ever met Shockwave. And then after that night, they were like, would you like to come back to our show again? And I was like, sure. And then the next couple times I went to be the like audience plant guy who came up. And after doing that like 3 or 4 times, Shockwave was like, we can't keep doing this. We need to make you like a regular like part of the show. And so then I started battling in that comedy show. If you do it and you win, they invite you to come back to defend your title the next month. And I was there fairly consistently for about 2.5 years. And then at the tail end of that, Shockwave was like, we are starting a school. Would you like to be a student in it? And so I went to be part of the beta class at the end of 2018. And I've been in FLS world ever since.
Wow. That is such a cool story that it seems like it happened so organically, like it was meant to be.
Yeah, in some ways like that, it did feel like that. In more of the reality, I have I tell people I feel like I've been rapping and rhyming and freestyling as long as I can remember. Like the way like just the way I grew up. Like my mother is a like storyteller and folklorist and musician, and in the house I grew up in, there's just drums from all over the world, all over the place, and my dad plays Irish fiddle, and I grew up in New York City, and there's just like hip hop blaring from every passing car and every time you walk. And my dad is coming back from the school he works with LL Cool J tapes to give me when I was like a 5-year-old kid, and that stuff was just always around. Like I don't remember a time when I wasn't rhyming and rapping and being involved with this music one way or another.
That's such a cool growing up story. I love that music was such a part of just your life experience.
Oh yeah, it was there, and you know, with my family, it's still there. Every time my family gathers, it's sing along time.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I see Get In Projects is here and goes, Lou.
Get In Projects, Kyle, you are such a hero and a great artist and human, and I'm so glad to be able to make music with Kyle, which I totally have done, and it is great. Kyle's awesome.
I second all of that. Kyle was part of my FLS Academy leadership team, him and Nate, and just like the positive energy and such a big fan. Tell me more about like what projects the two of you have worked on together when you've sang.
He maybe a year ago put out this album on Spotify called Here to Help the People. And then for one of the songs, he asked BS and myself to be featured on one of the songs he was doing. That and another guy, I believe his name is Evolution, and the four of us laid down tracks for this kind of posse cut at the end of the album, which is a pretty cool thing to do. And Kyle was very good about like making sure I like did my homework and got there on time, because I was kind of like, I don't know, it's been, I don't record that much or whatever. And he was like, come on, and he got me in there. So that's one of the reasons that I love Kyle, is because he kind of like properly puts the pressure on me to do my homework and do what I'm supposed to do. So we did that. And then at the beginning of the pandemic, on like the very first day of lockdown, I woke up and my wife got out her iPhone and said, Lewis, start freestyling right now about just what's going on in the pandemic. And then we started these like live streams, which would later go on Instagram to be called Lou's Lunchables, where people would like, every day people would come in and chime in and give us words, and I would rap about them. And then initially we were just playing beats off of my phone, but then Kyle offered to start DJing for that.
Nice.
So there were a lot of iterations of that where we had Kyle streaming in through our TV, So he was like the DJ giving us live beats, and I was rapping over that. And those were like, in Lou's Lunchables, that's like the most fun I've ever had when I get to team up with Kyle and do that, because he's such a kick-ass, intuitive DJ.
I 100% cosign. We are working on a very fun secret project right now, and he sent me something the other day, and I messaged him back saying, like, I've listened to this 10 times and I can't get over it. Like, it's amazing how and maybe one of the best parts of the Academy is that it takes people with different skill sets and amplifies their best parts.
Word. It's such a good, like, salad.
Yes.
Yeah, I really, it does feel like that feeling of whenever we're in an FLS group, everyone's got a superpower.
Yeah.
Like, I've yet to meet someone in like the FLS world who doesn't have a superpower that they can. Present company included.
Always at the ready. Yes, I agree. And they do such a good job, whether it's like the people who started with like Jelly and Shock and Two Touch, or like y'all taking over with being like the TAs and the leaders, making everyone feel like their superpower is important and you don't need to come in with knowing what that superpower is.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're all kind of discovering it kind of as the process goes along, because there are people in FLS world who, you know, we talked before, who are like, I've been performing all my life and I feel so comfortable on stage and this is great, give me the mic. And there are people like, oh, I've never done this before and this horrifies me. And both of those people make infinite progress throughout the class, and it's really cool to see. The more experienced performers kind of develop more ways to like listen and communicate and be on stage, and people who have really performed so much, I've just seen so many people just develop so much confidence that by the class show they're like, yeah. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel that so much. That's like, you know, I'm a reporter, which I've noticed through being in the FLS Academy there are so many similar things with like listening and not thinking ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to have a few thoughts of like, this is how I'd like the conversation to go, or here are a few questions I have already in my brain. But I can't go in with too much of a set structure, or else I miss the beauty of what you say, and we can build off of that. And that beautiful correlation between freestyling and reporting, like I've never really made that connection beforehand.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you think it's just in freestyle rap world, then holy smokes, this is showing up at Thanksgiving dinner, where I'm learning how to like communicate with my family, or this is helping me so much at my job. I'm learning how to like listen and communicate with the people I work with, and these people in my family and in my world. It's a really good point. It does reverberate quite farther than you might think it would.
Yeah. And so talking about FLS Academy and Louuuuu's Lunchables, like we've all had to find a way to kind of take what's happening now in the pandemic and use our creative energy in different ways. And so with Louuuuu's Lunchables, and then with the rap recesses that we've been having Wednesdays and Sundays, and then also like this new Academy work that you've been doing stuff on, how have you noticed like the transition from things that were normally in person are now online and all via either Zoom or Skype or StreamYard in this case?
Yeah. So my initial reaction when we did our very, very first like FLS Zoom, it made me feel kind of sad at first. So I was like, man, I remember we used to like do all this stuff together in person, and now we're in our own little screens and pods and trying to get our sound right and stuff. And I just miss being able to like just kick it with everyone here in real person. However, once these like ciphers and Zooms and performances started, I felt this new kind of connection growing between people, and this new kind of very exciting bonds and energy begin. And like by the end of that first Zoom, and by the end of all these subsequent ciphers, there is just such a community feel, and like I feel great about myself, and I'm so inspired by everyone I've been able to like rock with for the past hour. And I usually feel so much better at the, it's such a high at the end of every single thing that we do. And also we've been able to branch out more in these new FLS classes. There's people logging in from Australia and Scotland, and I'm able to have a conversation with someone in the Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
on a Sunday afternoon in a way that I don't know if we were taking advantage of that stuff before. So there's a lot of opportunity here. And we've also been able to do cool things like maybe back in April, Jelly and the folks had this idea of, let's have Kyle make a beat and we'll invite everyone to record 4 bars of their message to the world amidst the coronavirus pandemic. And then I was the one who took all those clips and edited them together to make like this 10-minute video of everyone just speaking their message of hope to the world. And I actually thought it was a pretty cool project. Like Kyle's beat was so good and everyone's little verse was so dope and so heartfelt, and it was cool to see it come together in this kind of we are the world type of video. And I still like, you know, I've done a lot of like editing and stuff in my life, and that project still like the song gets like stuck in my head every now and then, and I go check it out. Like, you know what, I do like that, and it's cool to have all these people from all over the world logging in to be part of this one wavelength of a song. So there's a lot more possibility here than I thought there would, and I'm interested to just keep on riding this wave and see where it grows, because it's building and evolving in real time.
Yeah, that was such a cool project. And to see, you know, like everyone's dealing with the pandemic in a different way and it's hitting hard in different ways, but having these rap recesses where we're coming together and having that video, like I didn't know I needed it until we started doing it. And then I was like, oh, wow, it's something to look forward to every Sunday, and a way that if I'm not feeling great and I take a week off, it doesn't feel like anyone's judging me or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like there's this great sense of community that like come in with the energy that you have today, and whatever energy that is, it's cool. And just like you said, I always feel better at the end. Like it doesn't matter what energy I come in with. I feel so high from this like connection, and like who would have thought that you could connect so well this way, like through looking at a screen.
I know. It's pretty wild that we're able to do that. It's definitely one of the brighter spots in this chapter of the world that we're all living in, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, just to toot your own horn. Oh, hey, Slim. Woke up from that nice little nap he had there.
What's up, Brady?
So cute. Hi, bud.
Such a hype man.
I love how he holds his paws just like one on top of each other. He's so fancy. Aren't you so fancy?
He's very some people are just always ready for the camera.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? If you know someone who's like an actor or an actress and you're like at a party and the camera comes out, they're just like golden and ready for it. That's kind of what Slim is to me, I think.
That is indeed. And he's like looking like he wants to go out, but the wind knocked him. So hold on. I'm gonna let him in. Give me one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let him out.
Yeah.
Yes. Have fun. Okay. I'm back. Alrighty. He always camera ready, always ready to go outside and adventure.
Yeah.
So, talking more about that connection though, like you always have such a positive energy and outlook, and it's so true. Like whenever we're grouped together, I always know that I have a hype person there who's just like ready to go. Do you recognize that you have that superpower that you share with all of us?
I don't think I pinpointed that in myself. It's really just I just kind of show up and just do me. You know, I don't think like someone who I think really has that, who I've learned a lot from, is Nate. Nate Lombardi is like one of the most like powerfully supportive people in the world. He can just like look you in the eye and make you feel like you're such a fucking superstar. And I'm like, yeah. And but you know, aside from that, I don't know. What can I say? I'm a big 6'4", sometimes smiley guy. And if we're getting together, that's most likely what I'm going to bring to the table, unless I'm in like a really shitty mood or something.
Fair. And yeah,
Yeah.
Nate has that, and I'd say BS also. I felt that this last time, and watching his show Props yesterday with Dr. Polly. Props to Props.
So good. BS got so into his inner game show host. It was so hilarious. Oh my God, he had this over himself. He's like, but wait, there's more. Like we've all seen BS the rapper, but it's so funny to see him go into like fully committed game show host. And I'm really hoping the nickname Rap Sajak catches on for him.
Yes.
I'm trying really hard. I'm so trying to make fetch happen with that.
Make fetch happen for sure. There were just so many fun aspects of that show, and it's just like, y'all, you made the thing. You had this idea, you got people excited, and that like comment section was lit. It was just nonstop.
Yeah, it was pretty busy. Yeah, there was a lot going on there.
Yeah. I know, for sure. I would love to take part, and Dr. Polly and I have been chatting about possibly doing that. But the idea of like trying to come up with all those great rhymes and like bars, and to know exactly like how many, like 15 or 16 bars as you're going, like that takes talent and skill.
Yeah, to like land that exactly on like the end of the 16th bar. I've never thought of freestyling in that context before, so I don't know. Like 95% of the time, all three of them were able to just like stick the landing, and I was like, Jesus. And Rabbi Darkside freestyling a limerick, like what the fuck was that about? That was incredible.
That was rude.
Yeah, that was wild.
Oh my gosh, it was.
But yeah, a lot of hijinks. Props to Props.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying before, this gives this new world that like I hadn't met a lot of these people before Rap Recess online, because even if we did the Rap Recess in person, like if you live out of town, even if you lived in New York when you were taking the academy or you would travel, like it's hard to sometimes come on a Wednesday afternoon to, the village. So this is like introduced so many more people in the FLS Academy world that I've now only known through this virtual setup, and I feel like I've known them forever.
I know. I totally agree. It's definitely expanded the Rolodex more than I thought. Didn't realize the pandemic was going to be like networking palooza all of a sudden.
It's so true.
Here we are.
So one of the coolest things was everyone getting together to watch the FLS documentary, We Are Freestyle Love Supreme. Yeah. You've been with this fam for quite some time, as you were saying. Like what was it like watching that and seeing how they were babies and like enjoying that with everyone? Yeah.
The first initial reaction is like, there's Shockwave on television. You know what I mean? Just like these guys looks like really good on TV. These are people that we like consort with a lot, and there they are on like the big TV screen. Like that's cool. And as far as seeing them as babies, it just harkened back to, I feel like I remembered seeing them every once in a while perform as babies in real life. I'd never seen Freestyle Love Supreme. I never saw an FLS show until Broadway.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time for me. But I had seen I remember seeing Shockwave perform these like really crazy solo beatbox shows in like 2011. Like he performed at the show one time at UCB called A Side, B Side, and it was when each performer performs twice. They show up and play something they think is one of their best, greatest hits as an artist, and then they come back and say, perform something that you tried once and totally didn't work out. And Shockwave was definitely one of the people that did that, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is super fucking amazing. But seeing that film, it's just so cool. More than seeing them as babies, seeing them like grow.
Mm.
Watching that growth and that they were able to have a camera there for 15 years, it's like watching Boyhood or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like improv comedy freestyle hoop dreams. You know what I mean? Like to see this progression and hear them talking about their origins, like how Lynn was inspired by the theme song of Darkwing Duck with that sick rhyme of "When there's trouble, you call DW." That was cool. Seeing them go to the Fringe Festival in Scotland was pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
watching them react to the first review they ever got, and they're like, yeah, and they just like continue on to just keep like slaying it and build their craft and expand to everyone. And I think that's what's cool, seeing their profile rise over the course of the film and seeing just their trust with each other build and those ups and downs and stuff. So that's, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but seeing the progression was really cool about that movie, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Especially like, you know, that amazing scene where Tommy Kail and Lin-Manuel Miranda are walking through Times Square and Tommy looks at him and says something like, "There's a very good chance nobody will know who you are." Like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
I love
I think they do now.
Yeah. And the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. That like, yeah, that just like popped in my head. Like, oh, look at that dichotomy. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's also cool seeing the videos of Lynn as he was like an 11-year-old kid with like a top hat making like a home movie.
Yeah.
So good.
He was always meant to be the star that he is now.
Yeah, I concur. I remember I saw it in the Heights. My mom went to Wesleyan, and in like 2006, she was like, "Hey Lou, this guy who went to my college is doing some like off-Broadway show. There's like rap in it. I think you might like it." And then I went to go see it, and I was like, that was the first and only time I ever saw in the Heights. And I was like, holy shit. Like I walked in there not knowing what it was going to be, and just I was so blown away by the lyrical dexterity and the stories and how they so cleverly interwove all this like hip hop and stuff that I grew up listening to. I'd never seen that on a Broadway stage before on the theater stage before on that level, and I was like blown away. And that was the first time I ever saw Lynn or any of those people. And then that night I Googled, what are these guys all about? And it was like, he's in a touring group called Freestyle Love Supreme. And I watched some of the YouTube videos. I was like, oh shit, these guys, this looks and feels familiar, like the things I listen to anyway.
That's such a cool way to like find out about them. And like you were saying about the documentary, I agree. It was so cool that they had the foresight and that they allowed all of that video to happen, because seeing that progression and seeing that like you can have a dream and still other people don't get what it is for like years and years. And the fact that it depends where the end point is, like they started it out with, you know, like even the fact that this kind of focused on like the run up until Broadway, and then it kind of like touched upon Broadway. Like it's crazy that Broadway was like an afterthought, right? Like that you would never think that.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens, but they just kept sharpening their sword and kept on working on their act and their movement, and it's kind of become what it has. But you know, there can be all the hype and stuff like that, but I think what's most important is what they're doing on stage and the way they're communicating with each other and stuff. And everything else is just a cherry on top.
Exactly. So have you seen Hamilton?
I did. It was, my wife got it for me as a Christmas present 2 years ago, and I saw it. The thing that blew me away about that show, a couple things. That was the first time I ever saw them do the rewind thing.
Rewind, wind.
Yeah, that was crazy, because I had just like I had listened to the soundtrack like once, so I knew kind of what I was going into. But when they did that rewind shit, I was like, yo, that was crazy. It was more emotional than I thought it was going to be when, you know, when sad things happen in Act 2.
Yeah.
It hit me a little harder. And just the other thing I loved about that show is just so many little Easter eggs to like hip hop songs and hip hop
Yeah.
references that just I grew up listening to, and it was so just cool to hear them say things like, you know, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, or the Mob Deep reference, and how like I don't know, Hercules Mulligan is supposed to be specifically based on like Busta Rhymes or something like
Right.
that, and I love seeing those little Easter eggs pop up throughout the show.
Right. If you already come with that background, then you get that added extra that like Lynn was specifically thinking of, that I would
Yeah.
venture to say at least half of the audience, if not much more, probably
Yeah.
doesn't go in with that. So what were your like foundations of, you know, music that you would listen to really growing up?
Yeah. The people I listen to a lot, the first one that comes to mind is this group from Yonkers called the Locks, who were signed to Bad Boy Records and then go on to Rough Riders. There's this guy in the Locks named Jadakiss, who just has such amazing just lyricism and storytelling and bars on bars on bars. And I just grew up listening to like the way they would rap and trying to imitate it as best I could. And there was a lot of Jay-Z and Big Pun and Eminem and Nas and Talib Kweli, and I listened to and Biggie Smalls and the Tupac Greatest Hits album I would listen to over and over and over again. And then later I really got into Southern rap like UGK and DJ Screw from Houston and stuff like that. And that's just kind of what just burned down in my CD players. And, you know, there's some Nelly in there too. Let's do a lot of Nelly. And
yeah,
I would really feverishly look up like radio freestyles, like if Eminem or Big L or, you know, Biggie Smalls or Jadakiss are doing a radio freestyle, I would listen to those specifically just on repeat all the time. Nice. And then for freestyling, there's this really legendary freestyle rapper named Supernatural, who initially set the world record for longest freestyle, which was 9 hours and 15 minutes.
What?
Oh, yeah. The record has since been surpassed by other people, but he was the one who like set that bar. And he is just incredible. And one of the many things he was iconic for was doing this act in his show where he would have everyone in the front row hold up an item out of their pocket. And then he would just go down item by item by item, take each one and drop a sick bar about someone's keys or their wallet or whatever weird like Pokemon toy they have in their pocket or something like that. And just such genius and cleverness and wit off the spot. And I just used to watch his videos over and over and over again and try to think, how can I possibly even get close to that? And then when I was living in Vermont, I had friends of mine who were in bands, and they would ask me to sometimes sit in for their shows and stuff in Burlington, Vermont. And I did that exact act where I would ask people in the audience to like hold up items out of their pocket, and I would do my best to like rap about them and drop references and stuff like that. So just a lot of just intense storytelling and showmanship and freestyling is what all circulated in here.
That is so cool. I love when people can take that and just run with it. Like I've been amazed and astonished every time I would see like FLS on stage, because I was lucky to see them off Broadway and then on Broadway a few times, and the quickness of coming up with something, and the idea, like you were saying, that this other freestyler could just see all these different things and just go boom, 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 like that. Yeah. That is like such a specific skill set that it's so impressive.
Yeah.
Wow. I also, hearing you say that, I think you would appreciate Slim, his sister, is shady.
Great. And their dog, so that's like a Snoop Dogg reference in there too.
It's just it all
cool. Yeah, you're gonna get a third dog name at Kim. That might be kind of an intense relationship in the house, but
yeah, we're really going deep here.
Yeah. All right, Slim Shady. Well, they'll always know what their name is.
Right, exactly. And like you always have to go in that order. You can't be like, oh yeah, there's Shady and Slim. Like,
yeah. No, yeah, they always listen to you when you tell them please stand up.
Exactly. Well done. Way to yes and it.
Yeah.
So this feels like a good moment for us to do a little freestyling. I didn't know if you wanted to like, if you had any specific like one that you want to do, or just like trade 2s or 4s or whatever. What makes you most comfortable?
I feel like I am a guest in your house, and whatever we're doing, I'm down. I have no preconceived desire for method of freestyling.
Excellent. Well, I was thinking that maybe we could just try to do a little freestyle back and forth. We don't need to have a beat. We can just do it off the dome, because when we're doing this, we're doing it from our home.
Oh yes, we are. Count it to 4 with cool similes and metaphors. When we are rapping, I feel like we're the best. From Jersey City to Pacific Northwest.
Northwest, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm from New York here, but West Coast, Best Coast, nah, I don't believe that. Not for a second. I can't wait to go back to New York the second that it's all safe, because we're in quarantine. We got to wear our masks so that we can be seen together forevermore. Once we can do it just like Paramore.
Okay, yeah, we stay the same with Parafor, flying on an airplane. It'll be landing. We going free like Paramore when they sang with B.O.B. That was the singer. I do it on the dailies, bumping Black Eyed Peas, Will.I.Ams, and Haley. Who can sing it? Blues here is cute. So fly rhymes, they might need a parachute. We're going all daisy, feeling kind of crazy, saying where my dog's at. Yo, Slim Shady.
Yes, I'm leaving it at that. That was so good. It's so much fun to freestyle. Like, I feel like I do it so much now that it doesn't really matter. Like, you don't need to be perfect. That's what I've learned throughout the process.
No.
You can, like, even the gibberish freestyling is so much fun.
Yeah, I could gibberish freestyle all day. I'm sure my neighbors are delighted by all the gibberish freestyle. They probably hear it coming out of like my room every day. Yeah, gibberish is great, and I never did it until I got involved with the FLS world. I put so much pressure on myself to like use words, and they're like, "Why are you putting that anvil on your neck, man? Just vomit it out." And it's dope every single time. I've yet to hear a whack gibberish rap verse ever in my life.
Yes,
they're so good.
It's such a nice tool from the artillery that you can just throw it out there. And when you do it, like, even so, for everyone watching at home that hasn't been through the academy, which, like, you should do it, it's so much fun. We would get in a circle and just like freestyle gibberish, like like it doesn't make any sense. You just like,
what was that last one that you said? I missed that. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
You're so welcome, because we really need to. It's funny that I even remember that, because sometimes you do something and you just like forget the second after, like, what just came out of my mouth. It is.
But it's there. I would love to see Freestyle Love Supreme on their next Broadway run do nothing but gibberish rap for an entire show and see what they can communicate with that.
It's like a whole nother language.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trained with speaking like Pig Latin as kids or whatever, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's the freestyle Pig Latin. Brought to you by FLS Academy. Yes. Yeah, I saw that FLS has some new dates coming up, like post-pandemic. I think I saw like San Francisco and DC. Like, it's kind of nice to anticipate post-pandemic, but I don't know. How do you feel about like thinking ahead right now?
I think of it in terms of, Steve Winwood has a song called "We'll Be Back in the High Life Again." So I like to think that one day we'll be back in the high life again. It's kind of a combo of just we're doing our day by day stuff. We're here, we're surviving. You know, those of us, people who can are still working their jobs. And the world is just changing very, very fast from minute to minute. So it's kind of about finding your center and your peace however you can during this time. And then just thinking about whenever we're able to gather again together, that's going to be cool. Like, I feel like the next time I'm in like a crowded stadium of anything, I'm like not going to know how to handle myself. So it's kind of a combo of that. We are just taking life day by day, exploring these new sort of like social opportunities that might be available now. And just when the world gets to its next chapter, it'll get to the next chapter. I don't know if that's a very weird, vague, college freshman who just took his first philosophy class kind of answer, but that's kind of the way that plays in my head.
Yeah, it'll happen when it'll happen.
Yeah, no, I'll play hacky sack on the quad.
Exactly. It's so interesting you saying that though, because I've been thinking about like I haven't left this like home property area in months, and I like the idea. I'm in a small town here, so even when we do go to the grocery store, like pick something up from a restaurant, like there's still only like maybe a handful of people that you would see, like maybe 20 if it was like a very busy day in one of the restaurants that we would like pick up from. And the idea of like going back and walking through Times Square or like taking the subway, like it's just like things that you do on a daily basis, or that we did on a daily basis. Like I keep thinking about how weird that's gonna be.
I know. It's got a different flavor to it right now. It can feel, little like I Am Legend if you're walking through Times Square or something right now. But on the flip side, I'm on like a first name basis with my neighbors now.
Oh yeah.
I'm like super like, I have a pretty like ongoing rapport with the people who live on my block, which has never happened before. But like, whatever. Oh, there's the nice lady with the dog who we always see. Oh, this is great. Like, I'm like better friends with Carol now than I am with like actual like dear friends of mine. But Carol's great.
Shout out to Carol.
Yeah, what up, Carol?
That is nice to like get to know your neighbors. I feel like that's such a lost thing these days because we're running around and we're going to this event and this freestyle and this whatever, or you're just staying at home. So if this is like connecting you with someone and maybe like, trading cookies, I don't know, that feels like a thing that neighbors do.
Yeah, let's sure. It's fucking new to me, but yeah, there's pastries flying around, We can be good to each other here in our own zip code, Who needs the pass train or whatever?
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
This is gonna feel kind of like a 180.
Yeah.
But we were talking about a little before and off camera, but whenever you would enter the room, everyone goes, Lou. Where did that start?
That started, I guess, last year in the spring FLS session of last year. I was a TA for Tarek's class. First of all, shout out to Tarek Davis. He is amazing. He is such inspiration and a mentor, and everything I could hope to know I've like learned from him. For some reason, the members in that class really love to just extend my name really long, and it just caught on every single time. I was like, "Hey guys," and they were like, "Lou," and I was like, "I'm just gonna go to the bathroom, Lou." All right, I'm just gonna like remember your homework is Lou, and it just kept on rolling, and it has lived on. And I don't know. I guess I've got one of those names that you can kind of do a lot with, I guess. But yeah, it's rolled. If I would like show up for a recess or something, like people would like stop the exercise to be like, "Woo," and I'm like, all right, you guys can keep on spitting like gibberish words and stuff, but thank you for the shout out. I'll always appreciate the extra U's. There's no such thing as too few U's, I guess, but that is Tarek's, 2019 class that Nia was in.
Oh,
So
nice.
you can maybe ask her in the cohort, how they all, got together and devised to bring that into existence. But that
Yeah.
happened, and almost a year later, it has stayed.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
noticed it because I went to that graduation, which was so much fun, and so cool to see the different groups, and even how like some of the like whether it was day in the life or something that I'd either seen on stage with FLS or learned through the academy, that there were even different like styles or like choose your own adventure, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, the like what would your dream day be, like that kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Those shows do kind of evolve and change over time, and it is cool, when you're with your own, squad of 14 people for 8 weeks. You think like the way we do it is the way it's done. Then you see, the Sunday 5:30 class, like what the hell are they doing? and it's like, oh, there's like so many ways to like interpret this stuff and bring it out. But I know exactly what you. It can almost be a little bit like, it's very exciting. It's almost a little jarring at first, like whoa, and it's
What
all
are they
dope
doing?
nonetheless. Yeah, it's all like super dope nonetheless. In this, I don't know, exploring those differences. I know exactly what you're talking about though. But yeah, that class was a really special class, and they were very fearless and very, very honest, and told a lot of really cool emotional stories with each other, and at that class show as well. I could not have been happier with the way that show went in that class of superstars.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was really nice to be in the audience, and like, especially because my class had already graduated, I felt like the pressure was off. Like I didn't have to like think like, oh no, like can I live up to this hype? Like even just going through graduation, maybe you can talk about this too. Like there were I was so nervous. Like I was nervous and anxious, and then I saw like, Jelly, Two Touch, and Shockwave were all together, like sitting in the audience, and I thought like, oh, hey, new friends, like this is cool, love this, like, and it like took it up a notch that I had no control over, right? Like I was gonna do it the way I was gonna do it, and I just was so in the moment that the freestyle and the singing and the beats for my friends, like it all just came out, and I was like happy with the results because I let just whatever happen.
That's exactly it. That's all that matters. We can think and plan all we want, but once that light goes on, it's go time. It's just go time, and this cool wave happens. And I actually like to think that the show is great. If they're amazing, they're always so much fun. But once you've gone class 1 through 7, just the magic has already happened. So much of it is just like being in the class with everybody, knowing each other and trusting each other and being vulnerable with each other and building that bond and sharing our stories and showing our superpowers. And then, and you get to do a fun show at the end.
Right.
If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, to me, so much of the joy in these classes has been just as they're happening in real time, in those moments, and the ups, the downs. We explore our artistic selves with each other. I guess that's probably one of the more interesting parts of it to me. And also, there's a fun show at the end. So
yeah. That is a nice thought too, because when I was going through the academy, I wasn't necessarily thinking like, oh, I hope that I do well during the graduation. Like I was just thinking about like, okay, let me learn week 1, and then let me learn week 2 and practice it at home. Oh, right. Next week we are doing this in front of other people.
Yeah. I know that you feel like you're in like an airplane about to jump out with your parachute on, when you're like waiting in the back of the stairs or whatever. And as soon as they say classes in session, you're like, oh shit, here we go.
It's about to go down.
Yeah, but thankfully, as long as you have your kind of squad on your left and your right, you can kind of feel like you're gonna get. We just might be able to get through this, because I know these people are amazing and they're gonna have my back, and I'm gonna do my best to have their back, and that's where the the magic is going to come from.
True.
Quite true.
And I loved that every class, they were very purposeful to make it diverse in so many different ways, and ethnicity and gender identity and age, and like that it wasn't just, because people will be like, it's diverse, and you're like, all right, what does that mean? But like seeing my class and the energy that came was so great, and then seeing your class and seeing the other one, it was so cool to see that like people who you would maybe think would be together weren't, and that was beautiful because it expanded what you learned, and you learned other people's like stories through True, which was such a great way, and so that's very purposeful, and you can feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool to see, like you said, it's cool to be in a supportive environment where you're going to be with people who just might not look like you or might not have the same backstory or like life story as you, if you might have grown up in kind of a homogenous area, here you are in this vulnerable space, and we're all going to be sharing our stories and building together. And the outside world is the outside world, and it can be the outside world, but in here with all of our life stories and backstories and experiences, we're going to push this all together, and we are going to listen to each other and support each other. And really unique, beautiful things have come out of that in FLS Academy and stuff that I just think it's a very rare thing. It's, in other schools and stuff like that, I don't think they put as much of an intention on the kind of diversity that FLS Academy does. And I think that is one of FLS Academy's biggest strengths.
Yeah.
The fact that they're so intentional about keeping it really authentically diverse and really encouraging people to come in and tell their stories. And I think it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Just to hear and listen to, the kinds of things that, person A might not have experienced what person B has gone through, but,
right.
Really, really fascinating, interesting things happen. And I think it's so important.
That intentional part is really key. And I really enjoyed too that, like we were talking about earlier with the rap recesses, that like Sundays for everyone, but the Wednesdays have become more personalized, whether that's like gender identity or racial identity or, gender identity. Like, I think I just said that, whatever, brain. And it's cool that they're taking audience suggestions from within the fam and saying, all right, let's rock with that. Like, and we can see it. And if it doesn't work, all right. And if it does work, like, let's do it again. And like the work at recesses where it's female and non-binary identified folks joining together, you do feel this different energy that like, it's nice. And I can imagine for the people of color identity one that, I wasn't a part of, that you also felt it there. So that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I saw in like the photos of the people of color recess, there were people who showed up to that who had not gone to any of the other recesses. And I think it's so cool that there was this space that, inspire people to come out and step out and be vocal. I love anything that just encourages people to speak their voice.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the coolest thing about these specialty recesses is that it motivates people. Like, you know what? I might not want to do this recess over here. That's not my thing, but this one seems great. I'm going to go here and I'm going to speak my piece. And I think that's what's one of the coolest things about it.
Yeah. And the stance and the vocal nature that the Academy has taken for Black Lives Matter and going in that rap recess, it was either, I think it was the weekend that the protest had started and everyone was coming in with these different energies. And that was like a really powerful moment. And then that video that the Academy put out, that, it's being associating yourself with an organization like that, you would hope would stand out like that. And were you a part of that journey?
that specific video, no. I think when all of that, when the George Floyd, when the death of George Floyd happened and all of the protests happened, I just thought it was important. I didn't feel like getting up on a soapbox or anything at the time. I'm like, this is a time to just like listen. There are other people who are going to be taking the lead here, and I'm going to just listen and contribute however I can. I think it's really great that FLS made the statements that they did. They postponed the release of the documentary amidst all that stuff, and have done quite a bit to be vocal on behalf of Black lives, because hip hop came out of Black and disenfranchised Black and Latino communities in the Bronx. It's a beautiful, just life-saving art form, and we just owe so much to these communities and these artists that have brought this to us. So just anything I can do to just help amplify these voices, and because this stuff is with police, it's been going on for a really long time. Like when I was a kid, I remember, hearing about the shooting of Amadou Diallo or the assaults of Abner Louuuuuuu, and it's just been going on so long, and people just don't want to see this happen anymore. It almost depresses me to think about just how much of it does kind of feel like a broken record, because it's been happening, unfortunately, as long as I can remember. These stories have just continuously happened on like large, stop the news cycle levels, and also just on lower everyday stuff. And people just want to see that stop. And I want to see that stop. And I'm interested in anything I can do to just help amplify voices to make that change, so this isn't an issue in our society anymore.
Thank you for sharing that. And it's okay. Slim is very upset as well, and that's why we're very close. He's very passionate about these issues. But it is important to use our voices. It's okay, Slimbo. Be okay. And reach out and hope that this is the tipping point that can spark real change, and that it's like you've been saying, it's been going on for so long. Like, these aren't new issues, but with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and countless other deaths, and with it being the pandemic, there's this combination of people having this time to protest and learn more, and that maybe the news cycle is different than it normally is. And so I really hope that there is real change happening. Are there any nonprofits or charities that you'd want to specifically give a shout out to?
I support, BS was raising money for Equal Justice Initiative, which I totally support. And just, I've, been, making contributions to Black Lives Matter and things like that. And the Brooklyn Bail Fund as well. And that's where I've been putting any of my attention efforts, however I can. So those are the charities I've been sort of doing my part to help and keep them going.
Thank you for sharing those. And I also want to add the Okra Project, which has been helping to feed Black and brown non-binary trans folk. It's been they've been doing some really great work there as well. So just in case if y'all haven't heard of it, now there's another one you can think of. And any way you can help right now is a great time to be doing that. I know money is very tight, and just hoping that there is change coming.
Yeah, for real.
And this hour has gone by so quickly, and I appreciate you so much. Where can the good folks find you across social media, and anything that maybe I didn't ask you that you came into today wanting to talk about?
You can see me at my website, which is lewisarmistead.com. And you can follow Lou's Lunchables for a collection of freestyles I've done in the past. We'll probably turn the on switch on that one again. We kind of pressed pause on it for a little bit, but we'll probably be bringing that soon. And also I'm on Instagram as Louuuuuu. I don't feel a lack of discussion topics. I think this has been great. This has been awesome.
Yay. So glad you've enjoyed it. And I love Louuuuuu. That is a great.
Yeah, and I'll probably have to change it to the version with just a bunch of U's at the end of it, like the class.
Yeah, exactly. Give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And y'all can find me at bwaySHO, as you see across all of these wonderful banners here that my friend Chelsea Hill, illustrating diva, glammed up for me. So shout out to her. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, now's a great time to. And if you happen to like what you're seeing, that we also have the Showtreons, which is the patreon.com/bwaySHO, and we do weekly trivia and monthly video chats, and it's a fun squad. Come join us.
Fun squad. So I will follow all those as well.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for tuning in today, and Lou, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Shoshana. This was great.
Thanks. See you at the show. Bye.
See you. Bye.